Hey everybody, this is Perch. DC's Trinity. Okay, so who is DC's Trinity? You probably know this right off the top of your head. Um, DC has, for a while now, listed the Trinity as Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Probably that order of general popularity. But here's a reader that's got a question about that and says, there is no hello perch. Person gets right to it. Okay. It says a Trinity is Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Correct. But for a long time, I thought it was Green Lantern. Interesting. All right. Superman had multiple comics and was the hero for Action Comics. Same for Batman, and had multiple named titles and Detective Comics. I rarely see a Wonder Woman title on the new comic rack, but I would see multiple Green Lantern titles and the Green Lantern Corps. So why is Wonder Woman the third part of DC's Trinity? Well, because it's a woman, because she's a woman. You can't have three white dudes hanging out as part of the Trinity. I mean, it'd be the DC Bros. That's what you get. No, but anyway, the mail continues. It says, no one has been able to give me an answer other than she just is. Well, so there's a jokey answer, which I kind of already gave you, and then there's the serious answer. And the serious answer is that Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are some of the original DC characters. Wonder Woman, of course, created a long time ago. Same thing with Superman. Same thing with Batman. And even though Green Lantern's been around for a while, he was a more recent, development along with, the Flash. Unless we're talking, Justice Society and everything else. But the recognizable long-term heroes are Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. And that's who it is. The jokey answer, which isn't exactly a jokey answer, because I actually believe it's truthful, is that, hey, wow, I just passed some guy's house and he literally was flying the snake don't tread on me flag in his front yard. That's what he was doing. So I don't see a lot of those out in the wild, just flying in somebody's house. Sorry, I got distracted. Anyway, the fact that they needed a woman in the team. You can't have like the three most powerful characters in all of DC, the Trinity, and have it be three dudes. You couldn't, the optics of that just don't work. So I think it's historical, certainly. Wonder Woman's been around for a long time. Her and Superman and Batman, created and have that long history and everything else. But I think it just is equal to it is, what we got to have at least one girl in there. So it can't be three dudes. So we'll go two dudes and a girl. And, we already have kind of a problem in 2022 because they're all white. But then Diana's we'll make her kind of olive, and we'll just kind of keep reminding everybody that she's from Themyscira, and, she's got that Mediterranean kind of thing going on. So, and Batman, plus he's always in the shadows. So who really knows? And Superman's Kryptonian, so he's not white either. He's from another planet. So that's kind of how it goes. That's, but in all seriousness, the characters haven't always been. They certainly haven't been treated as equal. So Superman and Batman have definitely had multiple titles, Batman had a very rich and robust rogues gallery that is pretty well known. I think in terms of kind of rogues gallery in all of comics, you've got Batman and then Spider-Man in terms of the most recognizable kind of villains, very bigger than life villains. But Batman runs that show of having big villains that he can tap into. And Superman, had the whole adventures with the Legion of Superheroes, had Superboy, Supergirl, Super Family, Super Dog, Super Pony, all kinds of stuff going on there. And certainly, Superman was built up. But Wonder Woman, until more recent times, Wonder Woman has been treated definitely as a background character. Now, by the way, by saying that, there are some great Wonder Woman runs out there. Make no mistake about it. You've had some pretty amazing, talented creators on Wonder Woman of all different types. But DC treated Wonder Woman as a sub-book. And the reason that they did that is that Wonder Woman sold less. And the reason why Wonder Woman sold less is that, quite bluntly, The comic industry for decades survived and thrived on, young boys who were buying comics, and young boys didn't want to buy Wonder Woman. They didn't, they didn't want to buy a comic with a girl as the lead. Is that horrible to say? It's the truth. I mean, running a comic shop, Wonder Woman was always a harder sell. It was one of the lower selling DC titles. And that's not a big shock. That's not a secret. Everybody knows this. If you go back, Batman had pretty, ups and downs. I mean, Batman was almost canceled back in the 70s, but all the same, Batman had a following. Batman had the Rogues Gallery. Batman had all these other things going into it, and you spin off with Robin and so on. Big storylines up with Batman. With Superman, lots of stories. You have Doomsday kill him off. You have the reign of Superman. You have all this kind of different things that they really put a lot of effort into Superman. But with Wonder Woman, I mean, even John Byrne going on to Wonder Woman was a big deal at the time. And you had some great creators. George Perez did some amazing work with Wonder Woman. Bill Loeb's, lots of people did some pretty amazing things with the character, but she was never given any kind of real hype. And when they did the War of the Amazons, or Amazon's Attack, that's what it was. Even that crossover, first of all, it didn't sell particularly well, but DC also didn't really put a lot of strength behind it. It just wasn't, it was a bet they didn't want to make. And so the idea of the DC Trinity for always felt like you had Batman and you had Superman and then Wonder Woman be in there because, why not? And so Wonder Woman was certainly recognizable and, featured prominently in the cartoons, had her own TV show and all the rest, but she just struggled to get a comic over. And then I think when they did the New 52, and certainly even a little bit before that, they kept trying to insert Wonder Woman in as a bigger deal. Remember that? They had the Trinity series where Mark Bagley came over and was drawing that, and then they had the whole storyline where she kind of got all mean and she killed off Max Lord, and so they tried to do things with Wonder Woman, but it just always struggled to take. And then the New 52 came along, and they put a renewed kind of focus on Wonder Woman, kind of shook that up a little bit, tried to do some new elements that kept the character fresh. And then the movie came out, and then when the movie came out, DC did this interesting trick, and I'm not even saying it was wrong of them to do this, but it was an interesting kind of marketing trick where DC is like, yeah, she's one of the most popular characters of all time. And I mean, in some ways she was. Wonder Woman had lots of licensed material, and again, very recognizable for decades, since the 70s, very recognizable. But the comic struggled, and so when the movie came out, suddenly DC is like, her comic's one of the top selling comics of all time. And but it was kind of a curious game that they were playing a little bit. Today, Wonder Woman still feels like a very it's a harder sell. It shouldn't be now with one good movie and one super awful movie, and then appearances in the Justice League movie, and all the things that have, and all of the renewed interest in Wonder Woman. The DC still struggles with her as a character. They did Dark Crisis, where Wonder Woman sacrificed herself, but it felt the reaction to it was, I don't want to say tepid. It's just people didn't buy. It's weird. Wonder Woman in DC has this very strange place in it where she's recognizable, people know her and everything else, but she's just not considered one of the major heroes by the masses. Now, by the way, if your favorite character is Wonder Woman, I'm not attacking you or putting you down or anything. It's just DC has struggled to get her over. In somewhat the same way that Marvel has struggled to get Captain Marvel over, Carol Danvers, it hasn't taken. And it's not to say you can't make a female superhero work. Of course you can. But and in DC more than Marvel, it always feels like they hold themselves back a little bit. So they don't really develop a huge rogues gallery for Wonder Woman. And if anything, they feel like they have to have Wonder Woman's arch nemesis and the big villains that go after her also be women. which is, again, slightly confusing. I mean, Wonder Woman's powerful enough; she can beat the shit out of just about any guy alive. Why aren't we giving her a rogues gallery that is as rich and diverse as the Batman's rogue gallery? Why not more characters? But it seems to kind of cycle around. It's like, oh, it's Cheetah. Cheetah's up to some crap again, and then oh no, Hades must be behind this. We'll pull him in here, and then maybe we'll half-ass a little bit and introduce a new villain, some angry woman who turned to the dark side. Now she's angry, and then she'll screw around with it for a while. And then maybe we bring in Giganta, but then it's back to Cheetah. Remember, Cheetah's doing stuff. It's like there's a very limited creativity to get into Wonder Woman. And I say this as somebody who would like to see a really good Wonder Woman comic out there. I think it'd be good. I was one of the ones who enjoyed the New 52 kind of reboot of Wonder Woman. I thought it was well done. Definitely that is a polarizing run. Lots of people absolutely hate it, and there's a lot of claims that have been thrown around misogyny and sexism and all the rest. But it felt like Wonder Woman had a more dynamic purpose kind of in those early days, and they leaned into the mythology a little bit, and I don't know, felt at least a little bit more fresh. But today, I just, it still doesn't feel like DC is putting a lot of work into that leg of the Trinity. So I can understand your question. It certainly seems that way. Like it's there's the top two characters, and then they're kind of the third. And I think for DC, it's awkward because they really don't want the female character of the three be the one that's kind of dismissed, but by their own actions, they kind of keep dismissing her. I don't know. I like Wonder Woman, a fan of the character. Absolutely, want to see better and bigger and better things out of Wonder Woman. But I don't know. Is it controversial? I'm curious what you all say. Maybe the response I'm going to get to this video are like, you're out of your mind. But it just doesn't feel like DC really commits to the bit with Wonder Woman. And, they'll do around, even this entire Nubia and the Amazons kind of stuff. It's like, you haven't built up the character as a big badass. You haven't had her have epic major adventures. Like, where is the Wonder Woman equivalent of Hush, where you put like the best artist you can find? Like, like you did for the Authority a while back. Give old Art Adams some money, have him do a 12-issue Hush-like series, put a really superstar writer on there, and give us the definitive Wonder Woman of kind of the biggest villains that she goes after, ones that are her villains, ones that are others, and give her that showcase. Hell, get Brett Booth. Put Brett Booth on Wonder Woman Hush, that version, and make yourself some money. Do something really dynamic, really knock it out of the park. That's what I think you should do. Anyway, thank you very much for the mail. Anybody else have this confusion of who the Trinity is, or never had any question about it? What do you think about Wonder Woman? Are they doing Wonder Woman dirty, or is it just me? Anyway, thank you very much for the question, and thanks for listening.